This short intro is going to be a direct follow up to the previous video and my points on narration versus dialogue and what I need more of to enjoy a story, that it is about me experiencing and interacting with the fictional world through its characters combined with my own imagination as the reader rather than through the writer's writing. I am hopefully getting the point across, at least to some extent. I want to learn about the world, about the setting, alongside with the character, not outside of the protagonist's perception and or sphere of influence. If I am bombarded by constant observations and explanations made by someone who's not directly within the world, I feel that I'm no longer a part of it, which is exactly what I want to experience as a reader and what I want the story to make me feel. So, my goal as the writer is to allow myself as the reader to fully dive into the world according to my current sensibilities, to my current standards of enjoying a story, while absolutely avoiding any sort of self inserts. I've mentioned this before during my protagonist talks. Rather than insert myself as the protagonist, I would rather create a protagonist that I would like to become. I do feel that it is almost impossible to completely make this distinction and stick to it, and it is very closely related to how I project the protagonist's thoughts and interactions with the world around him outwards, but it is a crucial aspect of storytelling if I want to avoid creating a story that I wouldn't enjoy myself. Creating a vibrant world that the protagonist somehow navigates and slowly introduces it through his own eyes to the reader. A large amount of communication between the protagonist and other characters within the setting. My tastes, my requirements in these specific techniques of storytelling have been definitely changing over the last few years, but I do believe that at this point they are in a place that is stable enough for me to formulate them into something coherent that I can then proceed to use in my own storytelling. Well, enough of this. The new apprentice, Speedy, learning the trade of locksmithing, is experiencing some troubles, but is not one to just simply back down and take the beating, so things might heat up slightly within the next few chapters. The other three boys are highly dismissive of him. As mentioned in the previous video, there had been some incidents on both sides, and their results are the current state of things, with Speedy eating by himself, pondering on if he should reveal himself as a member of the famous club, the Rapid Arrows, decides against doing so, and then he catches the three boys loitering around his bicycle, so he chases them away, that it could somehow end up stuck underneath their fingernails and then he would have problems with the law. He also decides that from now on he's going to firmly chain it up so that no one can steal it. After that, Mr. Shingles sends him to do some sorting of materials as per the instructions that he received the previous day. And while doing so, Speedy finds out some notebooks full of weird designs and blueprints, but before he can go fully through them and figure out how did they even make it into the workshop, the other three apprentices rush in and one of them grabs Speedy, clearly agitated by him finding the notebooks. And before they can beat up Speedy and find out everything he had learned from his quick look over the notes, Mr. Shingles finds them, reprimands them for behaving like Indians and cowboys, and sends everyone away to properly take care of their work. The three boys leave begrudgingly, just hoping that Speedy wasn't able to figure out much from the short time that he was in possession of their notes. And when they are leaving the workshop, they remind him to make sure that nothing that he might have had realized, which he obviously disrespects immediately. And during their next club meeting, he tells the rest of the club what he had seen, that the other three are trying to recreate a flying bicycle that a boy called Young Clapper had, at least according to legends, in the shades. And who would have guessed? The next day, Speedy finds his bike missing. He runs into the workshop. Not much investigation is going to happen, and when he accuses the other boys of theft, they just deny it and send him packing under a threat of a swift slap. But then he overhears them whispering around, mentioning that now when they have the most important part of their blueprint, the construction should become much easier and everything should go smoothly from now on. So then, when the Rapid Arrows are meeting, Speedy is now fully convinced that they really stole his bicycle, and Mirek decides that the next day they are going to follow the other three and hopefully find out where did they take the bike and maybe the rest of their motives. So the next day, the prowl begins. The rapid arrows turn into the rapid shadows, and their quest is successful all the way until the three apprentices enter a building, but it wouldn't be our heroes to falter now, so they decide to enter the tiger's den. Well, according to Speedy, praying that the tiger's away and that they won't end up in its mouth. After a bit of investigation, they find a door from behind which the sounds of tools can be heard. But one of the boys inside hears someone outside of the door, so he opens up quickly and just sees a leg of someone disappearing behind a corner, and a chase ensues. The three apprentices are immediately on the Rapid Arrow's tails. They make the mistake of going up instead of down, so they become trapped on a balcony. Speedy realizing that if the other three realize that it's him behind this prying operation, his days within the workshop might end up being even less pleasant. So the rest of the club hides him underneath a wash basin, and they will try to distract the other apprentices. Well, Speedy is not exactly amused by the prospect of having to hide underneath that, but no other choice. And then they are already in front of the Rapid Arrows, questioning them what were they doing there. Well, Indra answers that they were just taking a stroll, which they obviously do not buy. Then they notice some feathers sticking out from beneath the wash basin. Lifting it reveals Speedy pretending to be minding his own business. So they chase them out, just promising a retaliation to Speedy. And this part of investigation thus ends in a failure, but nothing is completely lost, and they are going to continue. Speedy's bicycle is at stake, and they have been messing around with him, so he's not going to take that lying down, and that they are going to continue their efforts, not giving up. But that's for the next episode. I'm going to continue going over my plans for the future in terms of writing, and I'm going to enjoy some more stories of the rapid arrows.